Welcome, friends. Welcome back to the kitchen. Welcome back to Sunday morning in the Old Cookbook Show. In this cast iron pan, I've got a little bit of bacon fat. We are going to do a recipe today out of this cookbook, the Daily Independent Wartime Cookbook. This was published in 1943. I have the Daily Independent Cookbook from 1941. You can see a difference in the recipes. This does make concessions for the fact that there's a war going on and there are shortages for some things. The preface talks a little bit about, how everybody on the home front is doing their part to help win the war. Today we're going to do a recipe called Beef Biscuit Roll. And it shows thrift for wartime, but it's not necessarily a wartime recipe. You can trace this back even farther, even before the Great Depression, in fact. It is one of those recipes that shows up in the late 1800s. So I've got some ground beef here. The recipe calls for chopped beef. I'm using ground beef because that was the least expensive form of beef today at the grocery store. So we've got that in there. We're supposed to season with salt and pepper. So a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and some chopped onion. And we'll just break that beef up as it fries. And so this is a fairly standard community cookbook. Every recipe is attributed to someone who sent it into the newspaper, presumably for their regular weekly recipe column. Fairly common in every newspaper at that point. Tons of advertising for local businesses. This would be a great way to advertise to the community, because everybody would want to get one. Everybody in the community would want to get one of these books, because you want to see your own name in there, but you also want to get a glimpse into what other people are cooking and eating. And maybe, Edith is going to give away a secret to that great thing she brought to the church potluck. That's the sort of thing. And these were huge, and they're not as big now, not as big at all. I guess in a way, YouTube has kind of become a community cookbook. And the community is much larger. The community is much more varied at this point. Okay, I think the meat is brown. Supposed to set it aside and let it cool, so put it into this bowl. Now there's a lot of fond in this pan, so I'm going to put in a little bit of stock. I'm going to cheat, really, is what I'm going to do. Now, making this with stock, already made up stock, is cheating. If there's enough fond on the bottom, you could do this with water and get a really good stock. I was supposed to put some stock in with the beef, but we're also supposed to serve it later with gravy. So I wanted to make sure I had a really, really tasty gravy. So we'll just simmer this off, scrape up the fond, and wait for the beef to cool down before we move on to the next part. I think this is almost cooled down enough. We're going to start making the biscuit dough. Very straightforward baking powder biscuit. First in, we've got some flour, salt, baking powder, and some butter. Okay, so I like to mix that till it's the consistency of wet sand. It's pretty much what that looks like. I'm going to put some milk in, but not just yet, because I'm going to come back to the beef. So, to the beef, I'm supposed to add 1 egg, and then a 1/4 cup of the stock. So, I've got a ladle that is 1/4 cup. So in goes the stock, and it's not hot enough that it's gonna cook that egg. So get that all mixed together, get the egg everywhere with the beef and the onion. Okay, let's finish the biscuit. And we'll just drizzle the milk in a little bit at a time. There we go. Okay, so I'm supposed to roll this out 1/4 inch thick, 8 by 12. So put a little bit of flour on the bench, and we'll get this dough out. A little bit sticky. It's going to be fine, I think. There we go. Okay. Okay, so 1/4 inch thick, 8 by 12. Wants it to be an oblong, so I was hoping to sort of get it into a bit of an oblong shape before I went at it with the rolling pin. Don't be afraid to move your dough around on the bench. People are often afraid to touch it. They're afraid to overwork it. Definitely overworking is a problem, but it takes a little bit more than you expect before you overwork the dough. And if it starts to pull back on you, just walk away. Let it rest. That's a sign that you have worked it a little bit too much. And just kind of walk away and let it rest, and then come back and give it another roll. And I think we're almost there. Okay, I think that's good. It's probably even a little bit too big. So now I'm supposed to spread our meat mixture. I think I've got it spread out enough. It's kind of like a cinnamon roll, except no cinnamon. So now I'm supposed to roll it up. It says to roll it up as if it was a jelly roll. So do the best you can. And then got a little bit of milk here, so wet this edge so that it all sticks together. Now, I'm supposed to cut it into 8 pieces and put them onto a greased pan, it says. Got a piece of parchment paper on a cookie tin. And into the oven. Okay, so while that's cooking, I'm going to make the gravy from what's left in the pan. So this is beurre manier, which literally means beurre, butter, manier, mashed or mushed together. It's just butter and flour. There's nothing to it. So the butter coats the flour, meaning that when you put it in here, it's not going to clump up. You're going to get a really nice velvety gravy or sauce. So just mix that in. I did about a tablespoon of each. I figured that was a good starting point for what I thought I might have left in the bottom of this pan. And I'm just going to bring this to a simmer, and as it comes to a simmer, it will thicken up really nicely. In fact, it's already back up to a simmer, and it's already thick. Really nice, smooth gravy. Look at that gravy. Oh, it's going to be good.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Jules.
Hey, friend. Smells good, although it looks like a little cake.
Beef biscuit roll. It's a it's a gravy glazed.
I didn't say it. It looks like a little mini cake.
Yeah.
But biscuits. Well, can you go wrong? There's biscuits.
Biscuits and gravy.
Food rolled in biscuits.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna. I feel like your drizzle might have been needed more than a drizzle.
That's really good. I like that.
It has all the joys of biscuit.
Yeah.
And, gravy.
Do this with sausage.
Oh, you can do with anything.
Okay, so I got an email from Kyle. Kyle knows who he is. We were chatting about something else, and he sent me his family's recipe for essentially sausage wrapped in biscuits. And we were talking about it, and this book had been sitting on my desk, and I was going to do one of the other recipes in here, and then I said, no, I'm going to do the beef biscuit roll, because Kyle made it look really good. Reminded me of something I'd eaten in the past, and I really like this.
I think it's one of those things that you could almost put any leftovers in the middle, roll it up, call it done.
Any sort of flavoring, any kind of sausage. Essentially, we made a simple beef sausage, right? It was just beef and onion and spice it any way you like. It could be pork, it could be chicken, it could be turkey.
I'll have to stop eating it.
Could be anything. This is a great starting point for a whole bunch of things, but as it is, it's pretty good. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.